Morning, everyone, or good afternoon. Welcome to beautiful Miguel Contreras Educational Complex. We're very proud of this school. We're very proud of Los Angeles Unified, and we're certainly proud of our great, beautiful city of LA and the state of California. Today, we come together to celebrate and reaffirm at three levels: at a professional level, at a legal level, but also following a moral imperative, affirm that California, Los Angeles, and Los Angeles Unified are entities that protect all individuals, regardless of immigration status. Today, we are here to reaffirm that everyone is someone, and we stand united and unified in protecting the rights of individuals, adults, and children alike in our schools, in our streets, in our society. You'll be hearing from a number of distinguished speakers who include the mayor of the city of Los Angeles, Mayor Bass, Los Angeles County Supervisor Hilda Solis, Assemblyman Al Muratsuchi, Senator Lina Gonzalez, the Superintendent of Public Instruction, Tony Thurman, and of course, our great, remarkable leader, Governor Gavin Newsom. Each one of these individuals will detail for you the action steps and legislative markers that have been adopted and will be signed into law, extending the necessary protections and protocols for the residents of our state. Just a brief point of privilege, we are also joined by the Vice President of the School Board of Los Angeles Unified, the best darn urban district across the U.S., Vice President Dr. Rocio Rivas, as well as the Superintendent's Student Advisory Council, and many community leaders, community-based organizations, and labor partners. Before I pass on the mic, I will convey to you, we are proud of the protections that even in advance of legislative action, this community adopted. There is no daylight that separates the willingness of this governor, the leaders here with us, our mayor, our board, and Los Angeles Unified. We declared back in October that we would not concede to immoral, unethical, and illegal actions targeting our students and our workforce, that we would protect families in our community. We taught everyone their rights. We sent families home with family preparedness packets, establishing their rights, but also providing important information on how to deal with the questioning of federal agents. We trained our workforce and parents on protecting their own schools. We established zones of protection around schools, a number of blocks with safe passage provided to all students. We provided and established transportation for all so that the fears associated with walking a child to school would be lifted. We are a better society and a better country than the headlines and the actions we see these days. There are no sidewalks for immigrant children and sidewalks for everybody else. Everybody walks the same sidewalk of hope and opportunity to our schools. That is why we are so appreciative of community partners like Carecen and Chirla, for they stand up, they speak up, and they stand with our students, walk with our families to ensure they get to school. But unfortunately, there has been a consequence. Fear is pervasive and deep. Fear, deep fear. Some children have been yanked from our streets, others handcuffed simply because they looked Latino. A 15-year-old handcuffed outside our Lida High School based on presumably mistaken identity, a child with disabilities with a difficulty in communicating. Shameful that as the federal agents were leaving, they told this 15-year-old boy that at least you would have something exciting to tell his colleagues when the new year began. Nothing exciting about being handcuffed when you're 15 years old or any age. Or another student who was apprehended while walking his dog on a Saturday morning and quickly shipped to Texas before being returned. That is why we established the Compassion Fund to provide legal support to our students and their families. We are one in Los Angeles Unified. My last point is, despite these injustices, despite the fear, despite the pressures, despite the unbearable lack of humanity, our kids are soaring. And for the second year in a row, these students, these children of immigrants and native-born parents alike have provided best-in-class achievement across all grade levels, all disciplines. They have improved. All subgroups they have improved. In fact, meeting and exceeding pre-pandemic levels. They have turned the impossible into the inevitable, despite the fact that they're living through impossible conditions. So now it is my great pleasure to introduce our one and only my dear friend and leader, the mayor of the city of Los Angeles, the Honorable Mayor Karen Bass.
Thank you very much, Superintendent. I think it is so appropriate that we stand here today, at the Miguel Contreras Elementary School. Because Miguel Contreras was a social justice leader of our generation, a leader who brought together labor, a leader who always fought for the rights of immigrants. So it's so appropriate that we're here today, and I feel so honored to be here today with everyone that is standing together, representing the students, representing community, and representing our incredible legislature, and of course, our great governor. So everything that we are doing today and all of the bills that will be signed, just think about it for a minute. Because to me, I would characterize all of the bills as representative of legislative resistance. But the fact that we need bills to protect people's rights of privacy from information sharing, masking of federal agents, if they are federal agents, protecting kids so that they can come to school. You heard the superintendent say how when school was ready to start, we had a press conference at another school to reassure parents that they would be safe in sending their kids to school. All of this legislative resistance is to protect Angelenos from our own federal government. That is profound, because this reflects a moment in history that we will all remember. But what I'm so proud of in our city is that we have legislative resistance, we have resistance from local government and state government, and we have resistance on the streets, because all of this together is a part of a new social movement that has now moved on to Chicago, to Memphis, to Washington, D.C., where unfortunately our federal government is trying to get us to normalize and accept military intervention and the hunting of Latinos that has been reaffirmed by the federal government. It is the hunting of Latinos in Los Angeles. It is the hunting of Haitians in Florida. All of us must stand together, and this is representative of our unity. Because as Angelenos, we will never allow this to become normalized. We will always resist, and our city will continue to stand united. No part of our city has cracked. No part of our city has acquiesced to this, because we will stand united, and I look forward to the day that we no longer have to protect ourselves and fight our own government. Thank you very much, and let me just say, the unity that we have locally is reflected between the unity of the city and the county, and we are very blessed to have somebody who has served on every level, from Secretary of Labor to a member of Congress, a member of the state legislature, now a member of the County Board of Supervisors, and we will see what comes next. Join me in welcoming Supervisor Hilda Solis. Thank you.
The mayor is a comadre, and that is a dear friend. I am so proud to be here alongside her, but also with our governor, Gavin Newsom, and all the legislative representatives here, as well as the elected officials, the superintendents of schools and state, as well as our CBOs who are out there fighting every single day. I don't think we have to remind you, but there have been over 4,000, just put that in perspective, immigrants in the greater Los Angeles area that have been detained by ICE. People, as you know, have been taken from churches, car washes, Home Depots, factories, schools, and bus stops. Y ahora nuestra comunidad tiene miedo de salir de sus casas. Our people are afraid to leave their home because they may disappear. They may not come back home to their families or their children. Immigrants are afraid to go to work, run errands, or shop at local businesses. And guess what? That does have an impact on our economy. Believe it or not, here in Los Angeles, we are faced with that right now. We're seeing our fashion district, our grocery district, our produce areas, as well as our mom and pop businesses across LA County. Yes, in the city of Los Angeles, but also in the southeast area, in East Los Angeles, the San Gabriel Valley, and other places where Latinos live and thrive. Now they're being cut off. And we know that the county of Los Angeles is also faced with some dramatic cuts as well. I don't have to tell you that some of those programs that we rely on for prevention, for medicine, for vaccination, is also now being looked at and being clawed back. Some of our grants that we've received through public health are already midway. They go through a 3-year cycle. Halfway, they're pulling back those grants. They're clawing back the money. What that means is more people are going to go without health care, but also people are going to lose their jobs. What happens? It impacts our families. It impacts our schools as well. We know that. Today, we are here because there's going to be several pieces of legislation that the governor will be signing. And I know that it's important because it leads me to believe that things do happen at the local level, and our legislators and our governor listen to that. We saw things happening here in Ground Zero. This was Ground Zero, and it remains Ground Zero. And I will tell you that I didn't like the fact that some of our hospitals, some of our public hospitals, where we saw and heard of ICE agents coming in, and people were unaware of what they could do. Part of what the county's been doing is trying to make sure that there are protocols and training in place, and to do the very best so that we don't compromise privacy, information, HIPAA laws that also protect those patients. That's something that we have to continue to work on. But while we're faced with this, pillaging of our community, I would say that we have a lot of people that are losing their jobs, and they unfortunately may end up in the streets. As the mayor well knows, in the city here, many of our families may become homeless because people have lost their employment. Those households have children. Those children attend our public schools. That also will have a devastating impact. At the county, we were very mortified when we saw ICE agents and others coming in masked, hiding their identity, and somehow saying that, they have to cover their faces because they feel they have been assaulted. Nothing could be further from the truth, and I'm happy that there's legislation now that will be signed that will help us provide those kinds of protections and protocols that are necessary. And I would also say that it's important to protect our schools. Our children should not be terrorized because they show up to school, whether they are a kindergarten child, a preschool child, or whether they're a high school senior trying to get through graduation and trying to get ready maybe to transfer to college. And here we see a disruptive federal government that is doing wrong by our families and our familias. So with that, I want to say I'm here to continue to fight. The County of Los Angeles is on with you in every single way, the legislature, the governor, all our local elected officials. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Assemblymember Mara Suchi. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm California Assemblymember Al Marasucci, representing the Los Angeles South Bay, and I chair the Assembly Education Committee. First of all, on behalf of the California Asian American and Pacific Islander Legislative Caucus, I am proud to join Governor Newsom, the Latino Caucus, and all of my colleagues and everyone from the community who is here today, including our state superintendent, from throughout the state, to stand in solidarity with our immigrant students and families to defend their civil and human right to an education. For more than 40 years, the United States Supreme Court has recognized that all students, regardless of immigration status, have a right to a public education. And for decades, both Democratic and Republican presidents have kept schools off limits from immigration enforcement because students cannot learn if they are living in fear of getting deported or separated from their families. Unfortunately, in January of this year, Donald Trump reversed this decades-long bipartisan policy of keeping schools off limits from immigration enforcement. To fight back, I introduced Assembly Bill 49, the California Safe Haven Schools Act, to keep ICE out of our schools. And I'm proud to have worked with Senate Majority Leader and Latino Caucus Chair Lina Gonzalez, my colleagues in the Assembly, Liz Ortega, Celeste Rodriguez, Juan Carrillo, and many of us standing before you here today, and of course, including our State Superintendent, Tony Thurmond, to get this bill signed into law. The California Safe Haven Schools Act is a clear message to Donald Trump. Keep ICE out of our schools. Keep ICE out of our schools so that all of our students, regardless of immigration status, can pursue their right to an education. And so it's now my privilege to bring up to the podium Senate Majority Leader, Latino Caucus Chair, State Senator Lina Gonzalez.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. I can't tell you how proud I am of this moment. This is a moment truly where you see the worst of the worst happening to our communities, but the most beautiful collaboration and unity happening within the legislature and with our governor, our superintendent of instruction, our local state leaders, all coming together to do one thing: protect our communities here in California. I'm not just a state senator. I'm the proud daughter of an immigrant mother from Aguascalientes, Mexico, a granddaughter of a fierce granddaughter as well, who had the audacity to come to this country for a better life, and who dared to beat the odds and lay roots down in Los Angeles and in California. I am like so many of the people that we represent that are just trying to do the same thing, to make a living, to ensure that their families have the same respect and that communities. And their struggle will never be forgotten. In fact, every single day, and I brought this today with me, I bring my grandmother's alien head tax receipt. In the 1920s, she came over from Mexico over to El Paso, Texas. And it reminds me every single day of why I have the privilege of this title, to fight every single day for these communities in everything that we do. And as you'll see, this package of legislation is so profound. And I want to thank the incredible leaders, the Latino Caucus members, all 38 of us that touch every corner of the state of California, the AAPI Caucus members, and our Diversity Caucus members for doing the good work. Specifically, we have Assemblymember Marisucci, who just spoke, and we worked on ensuring that there's a safe haven for schools. We've got SB 81 by Senator Arreguin, healthcare provider entities, and we've got nurses who are here today, too, that will protect hospitals. SB 627 by Senators Weiner, Arreguin, and Perez, who will say no secret police. Why are you wearing a mask? There should be no masks under any circumstances with immigration enforcement. And SB 805 by also Perez and Weiner to ensure that there's no vigilantes. We cannot have masked men coming around, picking up our communities without identifying themselves. We've seen this all too clear, myself in Southeast Los Angeles, in which I represent, as well as Long Beach. The militarization of places like Paramount that happened on June 7th, the greenlighting of racial profiling that has been happening all around the state, the kidnapping of students, children, women, many of which are legal residents and U.S. citizens, and the permitting of masked men to pry babies away from their mothers. It's unfathomable. Today, with Governor Newsom's signature and with the unity of the Latino and API caucuses, as well as the diversity caucuses and many of our local elected officials, we will say no more. No more to the racial profiling. No more to just the fact that you might be a worker who is a janitor or a hotel housekeeper. The accent you have should not matter. And we will always remember this time. President Trump, you will go down as the worst president in the history of the United States. You are a racist. And even when you kidnap our children and you separate our families and you denigrate us because of the race, our color of our skin and the accents that we might have, the work that we do, we will still be resilient and fight back. That is the California way. And again, you will always go down as the most racist, horrible president of the United States. But we are resilient. And with that, I want to say thank you to these members here, many of whom are immigrant daughters and sons themselves. Some of them are immigrants themselves too, like our two vice chairs, Assembly members Carrillo and Ortega. And I'm very, very grateful to move this forward. Thank you.
Let me bring up now our remarkable Superintendent of Public Instruction for the state of California, my dear friend, Tony Thurman.
Thank you, Superintendent. Thank you, Senators. Good afternoon. Buenos tardes. Thank you for being here on this important moment. I don't know, Governor, it may have all been said, but I'm certainly proud to be able to add my voice to these incredible leaders who are saying, we are standing up for our immigrant community and the members of our communities, and we will not allow hate and fear to grip them. No one should be afraid to go to school. No one should be afraid to go to a hospital or an emergency room. No one should be afraid in their community that a masked person will just come and snatch them up out of nowhere, unidentified and unannounced. I'm pleased to have been the sponsor and co-sponsor to some of the legislation that you've heard today, like AB 49, a bill that says we can't have ICE on school campuses, and that our data, our students' data, will never be shared with ICE. Thank you, Assembly members Mirasucci and Senator Gonzalez, for your leadership. And pleased to sponsor SB 98, a bill that says that we give notification to families when ICE is in the area. Thank you, Senator Perez, for your leadership. And to the mayor and to Superintendent Carvalho, who are saying that we are standing up for our families in Los Angeles. To friends like David Huerta, who put it all on the line for the families of Los Angeles and for immigrant families everywhere, we say thank you. Thank you to Senator Arguin for bringing forward a bill that says we won't have ICE in our hospitals, and Senators Perez and Weiner for having a bill that says we will not allow for masked men to snatch up immigrant families. Thank you, Supervisor Solis and our Vice Chair of the School Board, Rivas, for all of your leadership. And I'm grateful to be in California. I tell you, I'm not going anywhere else because we have a governor who is courageous and standing up to sign these bills today. It should not come as a surprise to you that our governor signs these bills because he's been a champion for education. My mother came here as an immigrant from Panama, and she taught in our California schools. And she would be proud of what we're doing here in California to protect the 11 million immigrants in our state, to protect the students. 1 out of 5 of our students in this state lives in a family that is a mixed status family. That means they have at least one parent who is undocumented. And as you heard, they have a right constitutionally guaranteed to get an education. It should not surprise you that we have a governor who would sign these bills in education and to protect our community, because we have a governor who has led to bring us preschool for every single 4-year-old in our state, regardless of citizenship status, who's brought us universal meals for every single hungry student, mental health, and programs to build literacy. I'm grateful that he has been a champion for education and for our communities, and that he is standing up for our immigrant communities. Please help me in welcoming the 40th governor of the great state of California, Governor Gavin Newsom.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Thank you. Well, thank you, all of you, all the speakers, everybody that took the time to be here, everyone that inspired this legislation, this call to push back, to meet this moment, and to be accountable. And really the spirit, I think, of these 5 bills that I'll be signing here in a moment are about accountability. Accountability that is long overdue. But let me first try to set a scene. It's one very familiar to many of you, but not necessarily to some folks that may be watching from other parts of the country. We're here in Los Angeles, the most diverse city in the most diverse state, California, in the world's most diverse democracy. It is a point of pride. We are a majority-minority state, California. At our best, we don't tolerate that diversity. At our best, we celebrate that diversity. We're a universal state. 27% of Californians are foreign-born. You heard the superintendent talk about all of the mixed status families. Our status is unique in the United States of America. It's what makes California great. It's what makes America great. And it's under assault by this administration. There's a word that you've never heard uttered from the President of the United States' lips, certainly not Stephen Miller, and that's pluralism. We practice pluralism. It's a deep point of pride. Those values are under assault to a degree we could have never imagined. For those of you here in Los Angeles, you deeply absorb this, you deeply understand this. You saw your streets militarized. You saw the President of the United States, who in his first term never sent the military anywhere, not overseas, nowhere. In his second term, he sent the United States Marines, active duty Marines, to the city of Los Angeles. He federalized 4,000 of our National Guard. We said at the time it was a preview of things to come. Folks thought that was hyperbolic. They thought we were overstating it. Ask the folks in Washington, D.C. Ask the folks other states like Illinois and what's about to happen in Memphis. We announced just a few weeks ago that we were standing up and pushing back as it relates to the rigging of elections. We were at the Democracy Center in Little Tokyo, the sacred site where we were interning and busing the Japanese. That shameful part of our past. And what did the administration do? What did Stephen Miller do? What did Donald Trump do? They sent masked men to intimidate folks from walking in to that event. Masked men. Poor soul that happened to be in the area, delivery guy delivering strawberries, was detained because he just happened to be in the area. Collateral damage. Disappeared. These masked men had no identification. These masked men did not provide any information, name, badge number, hidden from accountability, any transparency, any oversight. That's Trump's America, but it is not the America we've grown up in. And so we're pushing back against this. For so many of you in Los Angeles, we talk about authoritarianism. Some think we're being hyperbolic. Depends the lens you see the world. Which set of eyes? For someone like me, I may not be experiencing it, but for many folks you see behind me, they have experienced it. There was a young man who was here as an advisor to the superintendent we just met with. He says, you don't need to touch the flame to feel the burn. The impact of these policies all across this city, our state, and nation are terrifying. It's like a dystopian sci-fi movie. Unmarked cars, people en masse, people quite literally disappearing, no due process, no rights in a democracy where we have rights. Immigrants have rights. And we have the right to stand up and push back. And that's what we're doing here today. This is a disgrace. This is an outrage, what we have allowed to happen in this country. And I could not be more proud of this legislature, the legislative authors, to the community demanding more from all of us at this moment to push back. I'll be signing a bill, the first in the nation, saying enough. To ICE, unmask. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? If you're going to go out and you're going to do enforcement, provide an ID. Tell us which agency you represent. Provide us basic information that all local law enforcement is required to provide. Have the decency not to threaten people as they go to school, to go out in the parking lots proximate to these schools to create chill, packed attendance. We talked to these kids. They were saying, one of you said, I've got friends, they don't go on the metro anymore. It's a public space. So your superintendent had the decency, foresight, and leadership to provide transportation. That's Trump's America. Hospitals. You talk about health infrastructure. You talk about community health. People scared to death to even access a community clinic for preventative medicine, worried that somehow they're going to be turned in, or someone without identification, looking like anyone else with a mask on, may just jump out of a car and they may disappear. So I want to thank the legislative leaders for asserting themselves and providing me the privilege, the ability to sign these laws, pushing back at this moment. I thought Jon Stewart said it best. This is not about the pronoun police. This is about the secret police. We're not North Korea, Mr. President. We're not the Soviet Union. This is the United States of America. And I'm really proud of the state of California and our state of mind that we're pushing back against these authoritarian tendencies and actions of this administration. ICE is now the largest private police force in the United States of America. And I say private because increasingly it appears to many of us that they have sworn an oath to Donald Trump, not the Constitution. A private police force whose ranks are going to grow by some 10,000, dwarfing the FBI and DEA. Only comparable staffing and investments are military operations around the globe. That's what Congress, the supine leadership in Congress, provided, along with the supine members of the Supreme Court that have allowed racial profiling on the basis of accent, basis of location, and skin color. This is not America. And so we are pushing back firmly. We're pushing back using not just our formal authority, but perhaps the most important authority, and that's our moral authority. So thank you to the members of the legislature. Thank you to the authors of these bills. And it's my honor now to sign into law 4 pieces of legislation that go in effect immediately upon signature, and 1 on the masking that will formally go into effect January of 2026. With that, let's sign these. All right. AB.
Right here.
You're right
Sir.
here. Okay, you already said it. All right. It's AB 49. Let's just sign it along. Thank you. SB 81. SB 98. SB 805. And SB 627, the anti-masking law. Thank you. Thank you, Senator. Thank you all very, very much. Thank you. We're happy to take any questions in just a moment as we all reconvene. Thank you. Thank you, guys.